In the bookshelves, but the page numbers on the order of service are different, and I'm sure there will be people around you who will be able to assist. We start the service by davening Mincha on page 157.
Or 94 in the blue book. 94 in the blue book.
May he who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, bless all this holy congregation, together with all other holy congregations, them, their wives, their sons and daughters, and all that belong to them. May he who bless those who unite, may he bless those who unite to form synagogues for prayer, and those who come there to pray, also those who provide lamps for lighting, and wine for Kiddush and Havdalah, food for the wayfarers, and charity for the poor, and all who faithfully occupy themselves with the needs of the community. May the Holy One, blessed be he, give them their reward. May he remove from them all sickness, heal all their body, and forgive all their sins. May he send blessing and success in all their activities, along with all Israel, their brethren, and let us say, Amen. Amen.
Prayer for the royal family. He who gives salvation to kings and dominion to princes, his kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. May he bless our sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth, Philip Duke of Edinburgh, Charles, Prince of Wales, and all the royal family. May the Supreme King of Kings in his mercy preserve the Queen in life, guard and deliver her from all trouble and sorrow. May he put the spirit of wisdom and understanding into our hearts and into the hearts of all our councillors, that may uphold the peace of the realm, advance the welfare of the nation, and deal kindly and justly with all the house of Israel. her days and in ours, may our Heavenly Father spread the tabernacle of peace over all the dwellers on earth. And may the Redeemer come to Zion. And let us say,
Amen.
Prayer for the welfare of the state of Israel and its defense forces. May you bless our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Bless the state of Israel, its leaders and advisors, in the land which he swore unto our fathers to give us. Put into their hearts the love and fear of you, so uphold it with justice and righteousness, to serve you in truth and with sincerity. May we be worthy in our days to witness the fulfillment of the words of your servants the prophets. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Heavenly Father, remember the Israel Defense Forces, the guardians of our Holy Land. Protect them from all distress and anguish, and send blessing and prosperity upon all the work of their hands. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Hu Yivarech Medinat Yisrael, Rashecha v'yatzecha al ha'adama, Asher nishba la'avotenu latet lanu. Teim b'libaltecha v'yiratecha l'sadach v'mishpat v'tzdaka, v'nizkeh b'yameinu l'divrei avodecha nevi'im, ki mitzvosei Torah dovar Adonai Yerushalayim. Avinu Shabashamayim, Pekodna es Chalei Tzava Haganah Yisrael Megineretz Kodshenu, Shamrei Mikol Tzara V'tzukah V'shlach Bracha V'hatzlacha V'chol Le'maseh Yedehem. Sim Shalom Ba'aretz, V'simchat Olam Ha'kol Yoshveha, V'shav Yaakov V'shakat V'sha'anan V'ein Macharid, Ufros Sukat Shlomcha Kol Yoshvei Tevel Artzecha, וכן יהי רצון לבנו עמנו. My friends, today is Yom HaShoah, and we remember those who perished in the Holocaust in the years between 1933 and 1945. On Yom HaShoah, we remember the victims of the greatest crime of man against man. The young, the old, the innocent, the 1.5 million children, starved, shot, given lethal injections, gassed, burned, and turned to ash because they were deemed guilty of the crime of being different. We remember what happens when hate takes hold of the human heart and turns it to stone. What happens when victims cry for help and there is no one listening? What happens when humanity fails to recognize that those who are not in our image are nonetheless in God's image? We remember and pay tribute to the survivors who bore witness to what happened and to the victims, so that robbed of their lives, they would not be robbed also of their deaths. We remember and give thanks for the righteous of the nations who saved lives, often at risk of their own, teaching us how, in the darkest night, we can light a candle of hope. Today, on Yom HaShoah, we call on you, Almighty God, to help us hear your voice that says in every generation, do not murder, do not stand idly by the blood of your neighbor, do not oppress the stranger. We know that whilst we do not have the ability to change the past, we can change the future. We know that whilst we cannot bring the dead back to life, we can ensure their memories live on and that their deaths were not in vain. And so, on Yom HaShoah, we commit ourselves to one simple act. Yizkor, remember, may the souls of the victims be bound in the bonds of everlasting life. And let us say, Amen.
Israel. Como Adonai lenuchatecha, ata varanu zecha. Kohanecha yireshu tzedek, v'chasidecha yeranei. Avur David avdecha, atoshev pnei Mashichecha, ki lekatau nosati lachem, torati al ta'azavu. Etz hayim hi lamachazikim bo, v'tomcheo meusho, Drocheo dachenoam, v'chol netivasea.
Please be seated.
Dear friends and members, the very sad and inevitable day of our congregation has arrived. The reason for this occasion is regrettable, but we may find some consolation in the fact that we have lasted longer than many of our members dared to hope. This was possible because of the support which we received from kind-hearted and loyal non-members who came to our service to make up our menu, and of course the help and dedication of our council members. In particular, may I mention our warden, Mr. Albert King. Without him, this would not have been possible. Our winding up committee, after long and careful consultation, decided where the Sefer Torahs should be donated, and I welcome the representatives who have come today to collect them. May I also add that whilst the committee had the choice to either sell or donate the Sefer Torahs, we decided to donate them to worthy congregations together with the silver, which has been inscribed appropriately that they are the gift from the Bradford Hebrew congregation. May I also take this opportunity to express our gratitude to Rabbi Gilbert for conducting this service, a friend and a most helpful gentleman who has assisted us since we decided to wind up our congregation. We also wish to thank Mr. Cohen, who has kindly assisted Rabbi Gilbert and indeed has been ready to support us whenever wanted. Last but certainly not least, I thank you all for attending this concluding and deconsecration service.
In addition to Mr. Jaime Cohen, who's been coming to us for 25 years, I think, if not longer, for the High Holy Days and whenever else required, we have relied upon the support of First Reverend Evans Olversholm and subsequently his son-in-law, Reverend Stanley Abrahams, who is still in Israel after Pesach and is most unhappy not to be here and has sent a message which he has asked me to read to the assembled congregation. We send you our warmest greetings from Israel and are so sorry we are not able to be with you today. We have been delighted and privileged to serve the Bradford Hebrew congregation for the last 12 years. For 12 years before that, my late father-in-law, Reverend Evans, together with Mrs. Evans Olversholm, always looked forward to ministering to the Bradford community. The Abrahams and Evans families have so enjoyed their close association with the Bradford Hebrew congregation over the last 25 years. It is such a very special community with great warmth and closeness. We have been privileged to share the happy and sad occasions that span the cycles of life of so many families over so many years. We treasure such fond memories of these years with the Bradford community. Yesterday's Torah portion, Shemini, referred to the 8th day, the culminating part of the consecration of the tabernacle. Today we are assembled for the deconsecration of our shul. The Sefer Torah scrolls are going to their new congregations, and the spirit and memory of this congregation live on with our Sifrei Torah in their new homes. Blanche and I, in sending you our warmest greetings from Israel, of many fond memories of our years with the Bradford Hebrew congregation. May you be blessed with good health and happiness together with all your families. Our very best wishes to you all. Shalom. Stanley Abrahams.
Standing here in this very poignant Sunday afternoon, my mind goes back many years to the very first time I was invited to attend, officiate at a synagogue service here in this synagogue. April 1974. Pastor's Shmini at the bar mitzvah of Mr. and Mrs. Waxman's son, Alan. Yesterday was Shmini, and we seem to have gone full circle. Our rabbis tell us that when something is shalem, complete, it has a righteousness about it. This congregation has exuded righteousness from its very foundations. When the first wave of immigrants from Central Europe came to these shores and settled here in the city, this congregation, the Bradford Hebrew congregation, was a bastion of orthodoxy to which this very day each and every one of you here assembled, and those who are far, have established other congregations and play their important part, each and every one of you can be truly proud. Our rabbis say, during the month of Elul, we shouldn't give eulogies. And this deconsecration sermon should not be in any way a eulogy. It should be a form of thanksgiving to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the Holy One, blessed be He, for what we achieved here in Bradford, for what we did in Bradford, for what we did for the civic life of Bradford, and what we did in general for the county of West Yorkshire, that we gave and continue to give so much, and has been respected through the years that this congregation has been established. And when we leave these portals today and we go back to our homes, and we've had a long association with this shul, be it for 40, 50, 60 years, or just a cursory association, we must go home with positive thoughts and feel enlightened and not saddened. The Sifrei Torah, they are living on in other communities in different parts of the world, different parts of this kingdom, and are going to be used, please God, on every Shabbat and Yom Tov to enhance the beauty of the synagogue service where they are going. Each person who has been a regular attender of this congregation is going to enhance another congregation either nearby or further afield. And therefore the spirit of the BHC, of the Bradford Hebrew congregation, is going to live on. And we are not deconsecrating the Kehillah, we're deconsecrating a building, but the spirit of the Bradford Hebrew congregation in the minds and in the bodies of many here today is going to live on. That when we have our meeting in somebody's house, or we meet occasionally, please God, as we will in the course of the next few weeks, at a simcha in Bradford, the spirit of BHC, of the Bradford Hebrew congregation, will continue. That's something that cannot be quenched, only with the passage of time, when nobody is left. But even then, there will be generation after generation who will speak about the phenomenal services, the decorum, the exceptional minister that you had at one time, the late Jacob Iselstram, and the other Rabbonim who served with such dedication this Kehillah, Reverend Lent, Reverend Stuart Myers in my time, and others, and of course most recently the dedication of the Evans and the Abrams family in coming here. And please forgive me if I've missed anybody out. I know it's invidious to mention people by name. But over the years, people have given sterling service to this wonderful congregation. So when in a few moments the Sifrei Torah are removed and are paraded through the synagogue for the last time, and with that the kedusha, the holiness of this building comes to an end, let us go away from this building here today feeling enlightened and wondering what the next phase in our lives, in our history for this congregation is going to be. Ultimately, there will be a Bradford Hebrew congregation in Yerushalayim HaKodesh, in Jerusalem, For when there's the ingathering of the Jewish people from the four corners of the earth, with the stand, with the beauty, with the recognition of what this Kehillah did for Yiddishkeit over the years, why should it not miss its place in that most glorious moment when the ingathering of the exiles, as this place has been a shelter to the exiles from the four corners of the world, and especially as we remember today on Yom HaShoah, all those who came to these shores from a continent that was besotted with hatred and with cruelty, and we came here to Bradford, many people who established their lives with just their few beginnings and their few belongings to make this congregation and this community so vibrant, so beautiful, so lovely, that gave a lustre not only to the Jewish people in West Yorkshire, but indeed to Anglo-Jewry as a whole. This is my message to you today, as this building now ceases to be acknowledged as a place of worship. We go forth with the spirit that was always been maintained by the Bradford Hebrew congregation, and as in previous generations